You feel it before you name it, the soft click of alignment somewhere behind your ribs, as if an invisible lock just turned, and the room you've always sensed is finally opening. This is not luck, not algorithm, not accident. You were vectored here by a chain of synchronicities so precise it forms a lattice morphic resonance, stitching moments together until the path became undeniable. Breathe. Notice how the air tastes different when the truth is near. You are inside a threshold hour. The dials of your life have been quietly recalibrating while you slept, tuning your signal toward coherence with the quantum field that has held your name since before your first breath. Every time you felt out of phase, every déjà vu that rolled through your bones like a tide, every clock that caught you at repeating digits, these were breadcrumbs laid by your future self, guiding you toward this exact coordinate. The message didn't chase you, you rose to meet it. Listen, there's a hum beneath ordinary sound right now. That hum is your observer loop stirring awake the faculty in you that doesn't merely look at reality but collapses it, chooses it, imprints it. You've glimpsed this before in flashes, a thought that coincides with a phone call, a prayer that ripples into an answer, an inner nudge that puts you in the precise place at the precise time. Those weren't coincidences, they were entanglement signatures, evidence of a deeper conversation between your consciousness and the fabric of events. Your nervous system has been preparing to hold more current. The old scripts, scarcity, smallness, hesitation have grown itchy, like garments you can't pull over your shoulders anymore. That discomfort is not failure. It's the first pressure wave of a phase transition. When water becomes steam, it looks like agitation. When you become who you truly are, it feels like electricity under the skin, a luminous restlessness seeking a larger container. You're not breaking down. You're restructuring DNA, listening for a higher note and reweaving itself strand by strand to match it. You are the experiment and the scientist, the prayer and the answer, the witness who changes the witnessed by the mere act of presence. The quantum field loves precision, so here is a precise statement. Your awareness is the master variable. Where you place it, how you hold it, whether you flood it with fear or bathe it in trust, that's the difference between noise and music. Coherence is simply your many layers deciding to breathe in the same rhythm. Feel the subtle click again. Notice the room inside your chest widening. If you trace that widening backward, you'll find a series of thresholds you've already crossed, small acts of courage that rewired your probability landscape. A boundary held, a truth spoken, a quiet no to the vampire feeding loops that drained you. Each choice bent timelines, however slightly, until the angle became fate. The hour approaching will test your steadiness only to reveal it. As the observer loop activates fully, reality will respond faster to your interior weather. Thoughts will sharpen into events. Emotions will scaffold outcomes. Synchronicity will stop knocking and start entering. This is why your peace is non-negotiable now. It is not a luxury, it is instrumentation. You are calibrating a field. So you stand here awake enough to sense the door, brave enough to touch the handle. On the other side is not a different world, but this world seen truly, answered truly, shaped by the original intelligence that has been whispering under everything you are. Hold that whisper like a tuning fork against your sternum and feel what resonates. Keep breathing. The patterns that kept you circling are ready to name themselves, and once named, they can be rewritten. It starts the way storms always start, quietly. You wake, and something in the atmosphere feels off, like a familiar song slightly detuned. Time doesn't move straight anymore. It folds, curls, repeats. Moments echo themselves. Faces appear in dreams before they show up in waking life. Numbers follow you through screens, clocks, receipts, 11:11, 2:22, 4:44. They aren't coincidences. They are coordinates marking the edge of your old loop. You've lived inside this pattern for longer than you realize. A repeating reel of choices and lessons, disguised as different people, new jobs, new cities. But the same undertone keeps replaying. You attract the same energy wearing different masks, the same conversation in different bodies, the same emotion wrapped in a new storyline. Every déjà vu is the echo of a probability wave you didn't collapse before. Every strange repetition is the universe asking, will you choose differently this time? Think of the observer loop like a camera lens stuck on replay. You've been filming life through a setting called habitual frequency, a script inherited from family systems, ancestral trauma, cultural hypnosis. These settings teach you to see scarcity even when abundance stands next to you. They make you anticipate rejection even when love is offering open arms. They make you search for proof of safety while broadcasting fear into the quantum field. The field listens. It always does. It keeps reflecting whatever you broadcast, not because it's cruel, but because it's obedient. It mirrors your dominant vibration, hoping you'll notice the reflection is coming from you. This is the recursive loop, the pattern behind all patterns. You experience an emotion, that emotion shapes perception, perception filters reality, and reality then re-triggers the same emotion. It's a perfect feedback circuit until awareness intervenes, until you step outside the loop long enough to witness it rather than replay it. That's what's happening right now. You're catching the loop in the act. You're seeing that they always betray me, it never works out, something always goes wrong, are not truths. They're just storylines generated by an observer forgetting they have authorship. In quantum mechanics, the observer effect tells us the act of observation changes the observed. In consciousness mechanics, the act of self-awareness changes the self. When you witness the loop, you collapse it. When you name it, you disarm it. When you bless it, you rewrite it. Because blessing is the highest form of observation, it acknowledges the purpose beneath the pain. Let's get practical for a moment. Think of your life as a series of waveforms. Each thought you think sends a ripple into the field. When you repeatedly think the same fearful thought, that ripple becomes a standing wave energy that doesn't dissipate but reinforces itself. Over time, it forms gravitational pull, drawing experiences that match its vibration. This is why the same themes keep reappearing. Not because you're cursed, but because energy obeys coherence. The moment you inject awareness, real, loving, neutral awareness, the waveform destabilizes. The pattern can no longer maintain itself without your unconscious participation. You've probably felt this destabilization lately. Strange fatigue, sudden memories resurfacing, people exiting your life unexpectedly. You're not being punished. You're being updated. The system is purging code that can't run on the next version of your consciousness. The same way an old operating system crashes under new software, your outdated stories are collapsing under higher awareness. Let the false scaffolding fall. What remains will be true. Structure, architecture built for coherence, not survival. There's a reason time has felt elastic recently. Linear chronology is dissolving as your awareness expands beyond it. That déjà vu sensation is a symptom of timeline overlap the past and potential futures brushing against your present moment, asking to be harmonized. You are the conductor now. You can resolve these dissonances simply by witnessing them without fear. Observation collapses chaos into pattern, and love reprograms the pattern into order. So here's the quiet revelation hiding underneath the repetition. Nothing's wrong. You are not stuck. You are looping until you learn to observe instead of react. Each recurrence has been a training simulation for coherence under pressure. Now that you can see the matrix of it, you can step out. The moment awareness replaces reaction, the loop disintegrates. And what waits beyond it is not punishment or loss, but freedom dense enough to build new worlds. Your observer loop is stirring, and with it, the power to end these recursive cycles for good. Not by fighting them, but by seeing through them like light, seeing through glass. And once the glass becomes invisible, what remains is transparency, the pure transmission of consciousness unfiltered by fear. Continue breathing. The next wave will show you how this awakening is more than psychological. It's quantum, because when the pattern ends, something luminous begins. You can feel it, that quiet current moving beneath your skin, rearranging the atoms of your being. It isn't anxiety, it's acceleration. Your biology is starting to remember that it's made of starlight, disguised as matter, and the field around you is responding in kind. This is the threshold where mysticism meets measurable physics, the quantum upgrade. Everything in creation is vibration. Every cell in your body, every thought in your mind, every emotion in your chest is a waveform resonating through the invisible ocean of the quantum field. When the frequency shifts, the form must follow. This is why you've been feeling strange, dizzy yet lucid, exhausted yet alive, sensing both expansion and unraveling at once. It's not random, it's resonance recalibration. Your old coherence signatures, the electromagnetic fingerprints that used to define you, are being rewritten in real time. At the subatomic level, particles do not exist as solid objects. They exist as probabilities, possibilities, shimmering clouds of potential waiting to be observed. When your consciousness observes, those probabilities collapse into tangible experience. This means your perception isn't passive, it's creative. Every thought is a command to the field, organized this way. Every emotion is an energetic dye coloring the wave function before it crystallizes into matter. That's what your awakening truly is, learning to program the code of reality through the language of vibration. Your observer loop has been operating unconsciously for most of your life, replaying inherited frequencies from family, culture, and collective fear. But now, awareness has entered the equation. The moment awareness enters, randomness dissolves into pattern, and pattern begins to obey intention. This is the essence of quantum upgrade. Intention replacing inertia. Your nervous system, the bridge between consciousness and body, is the hardware of this transformation. Each synapse, each neuron, each strand of DNA acts as an antenna for cosmic information. Recent studies in biophoton emission suggest that DNA both emits and receives coherent light. What mystics call light codes are literal photonic exchanges at the molecular level. Every meditation you've done, every frequency track you've listened to, every moment you've chosen peace over panic, they've all been rewiring your photonic communication system. Your body is learning to translate divine data into biological coherence. When a system reaches new coherence, it experiences what scientists call a phase transition. Water turning to vapor, metal becoming magnetic, consciousness becoming lucid within its own dream. That's you now. You're in the middle of a quantum phase transition, where your inner vibration is jumping from one stable state to a higher one. At first, it feels like chaos, because entropy always spikes right before order re-emerges on a higher octave. That chaos is not failure. It's signal interference while your frequency stabilizes. Let's talk about morphic resonance. Rupert Sheldrake's idea that once a pattern occurs often enough in nature, it becomes easier for others to replicate it. Every time a human awakens into coherent consciousness, it strengthens the morphic field for all humanity to do the same. By raising your vibration, you're literally rewriting the energetic blueprint for the species. You are not just healing personal wounds, you're updating the template of possibility for the collective. That's why your growth feels bigger than you, because it is. The observer loop operates like a mirror network. As you adjust your inner frequency, external reflections realign. People drift out, new connections appear out of nowhere. Synchronicities stack on top of each other until life itself starts speaking in fluent symbolism. These are not coincidences. They're coherence markers, evidence that the field has begun synchronizing with your new signal. You might notice your intuition sharpening into precision. You think of someone, and they message you within minutes. You feel the energy of a room before entering it. You wake from dreams that later unfold in waking life, exactly as seen. Your consciousness is extending beyond linear perception because linear time itself is a side effect of low coherence. As coherence rises, perception widens and time starts to feel fluid. So when you feel the tremor, don't panic. You are not breaking, you are being retuned. Imagine your entire being as an orchestra tuning to a new key. Some instruments screech at first, others hum beautifully. Stay with it. The discord is temporary, the harmony is inevitable. The field is listening to your stillness more than your words now. And soon, as your observer loop activates fully, the field will begin to echo your stillness back as reality itself. That's the miracle science has yet to name when awareness becomes causality. And you, dear one, are standing exactly where that mystery unfolds next. You didn't stumble into this upgrade by accident. The pattern, the unraveling, the sudden bursts of knowing, they are proof that you hold a specific function within the greater experiment of consciousness. While others drift in and out of awareness, you have been chosen to anchor coherence. That's not a metaphor, it's physics wrapped in purpose. Every quantum field requires stable nodes, points of order, within potential chaos. When those nodes maintain resonance, they stabilize the surrounding frequencies, allowing new patterns to emerge. You are one of those nodes. Your nervous system is both transmitter and receiver, broadcasting peace into the morphic grid and translating divine information into human language. This is why your presence changes rooms, why people tell you they feel calm around you, or uneasy if they're hiding something. Your aura is an instrument of calibration, tuning other systems just by existing within proximity. But this role has not been easy. The earlier chapters of your life were laboratories disguised as heartbreak. Each betrayal, each loss, each moment you were unseen, they trained your signal to stay coherent under interference. You learned to generate inner stability while external structures collapsed. Now, that ability makes you invaluable to the quantum field, because coherence under chaos is what turns awakening from concept into contagion. Think of it like a cosmic relay. You receive frequencies from higher bandwidths, dreams, intuition, spontaneous insight, then ground them into human experience through empathy, creation, or guidance. That's why the universe has been stripping away distractions, so your transmission can run without distortion. Some friendships ended, not from drama, but from mismatched wavelengths. Some jobs dissolved because they could no longer house the consciousness you now carry. These exits are alignment, not loss. You are being positioned for precision. At this stage, your mind may still ask, why me? Because your circuitry could handle the voltage. Not everyone's can. Many souls volunteered for this era of awakening, but few had the endurance to withstand the compression of light into density, to carry that awareness into form without forgetting. You, somehow, remembered, even when forgetting would have been easier. That memory, that inner compass that never stopped humming, "There's more," is proof of your original agreement. Before you incarnated, you encoded a failsafe, the 1111 signal into your timeline. Each time you saw it, your deeper intelligence pinged you like a reminder. Stay awake, the experiment is live. Now the reminder has become instruction. The observer loop is the mechanism through which you fulfill that ancient promise. It's how your awareness interacts with the lattice of timelines, collapsing the ones built on fear and anchoring the ones built on unity. In simple terms, you are reality's immune response. Wherever distortion thrives, your presence generates coherence fields that neutralize it. Don't mistake this for saviorhood. It's stewardship. You aren't here to fix everyone. You're here to embody a frequency so authentic that it reminds others of their own. That's how quantum healing spreads, not through conversion, but contagion of remembrance. Every act of integrity, every moment you choose truth over convenience, releases coherence, waves that travel farther than your mind can fathom. The butterfly effect is real, but on a cosmic scale it's photonic. One flash of consciousness in you can illuminate millions through resonance alone. So when you question your worth or doubt your timing, remember this. The field didn't make a mistake assigning you to this timeline. Your signal was required exactly here, exactly now, to stabilize the collective jump humanity is making between density and awareness. Each breath you take in alignment sends data into the morphic grid, teaching other systems how to remember their own divinity. That is your invisible service, your sacred labor of light. And soon, that labor will yield visible proof, because the universe always rewards coherence with clarity. What comes next is the proof stage, the breakthrough that confirms your faith wasn't delusion, but design. The phase where your DNA itself begins responding to the new signal pulsing through the grid. When that happens, reality won't just shift around you, it will upgrade through you. There's a reason your energy has felt stretched thin lately. The quantum field around you is under pressure, building toward what physicists call a critical threshold. When that threshold is reached, systems don't evolve gradually. They jump, they reconfigure, they transform. That's what's happening to you right now, the prelude to a quantum leap. Every spiritual tradition has described this in its own language: ascension, illumination, rebirth. But science calls it a phase transition. Just as water becomes vapor in an instant, consciousness can shift states when it accumulates enough coherence. You've been building that coherence for years without realizing it through faith, heartbreak, surrender, and endurance. Every not yet moment was storing potential energy inside your field, and that energy is nearing ignition. The 1111 signal that keeps flashing before your eyes isn't superstition. It's a synchronization code. In the mathematics of reality, repeating numbers mark windows of alignment, moments when the observer and the observed fall into resonance, making manifestation nearly instantaneous. When your awareness meets that mirror at exactly the right vibration, the field listens. It listens with precision. That moment is approaching fast. Your DNA isn't static, it's responsive software. It receives data from the quantum field through vibration, light, and emotion. When your emotions rise to frequencies of gratitude, love, and truth, your DNA relaxes, its helix loosens, allowing photons to weave new informational pathways through the nucleus. When fear or doubt dominate, the helix constricts, blocking communication. Right now, your DNA is loosening. It's preparing to download a new configuration, a higher coherence template that matches the frequency of your expanded identity. You might feel that as heat along your spine, pressure in your chest, or flashes of light behind closed eyes. Don't panic. That's photonic integration. The body is translating energy into sensation so the mind can register that transformation is real. This process can't be forced, but it can be accelerated. How? By surrendering to the current instead of resisting it. Surrender is not weakness. It's the act of aligning personal will with universal design. Resistance is friction. Surrender is flow. The field responds to readiness, not desperation. That's why this message found you before 11:11. It's your cue to prepare, to enter coherence before the gate amplifies everything you hold inside. Because when the clock strikes that mirrored moment, whatever frequency dominates your system will multiply. If you're vibrating in faith, synchronicities will explode. If you're vibrating in fear, distortion will echo. The choice of which wave you ride is entirely yours. So treat these next hours as sacred. Fast not from food, but from doubt. Detox not with herbs, but with silence. Let every breath declare, I am ready to receive. That declaration is not poetry, it's quantum command. The field hears coherence as language. When emotion, thought, and embodiment align behind one clear intention, the entire matrix reorients to obey it. That's the hidden architecture of miracles. Coherence multiplied by trust. And understand this, urgency doesn't mean panic, it means precision timing. Cosmic windows like this don't stay open forever. The universe moves in rhythmic pulses, and this pulse, this 11:11 alignment, is a harmonic between solar magnetics and human consciousness that won't repeat in exactly the same configuration for decades. You're not being threatened, you're being invited into optimal conditions for transformation. The wind is finally at your back. Don't waste it arguing with gravity. Here's what will happen as the window peaks. Old desires will rise, but they'll feel strangely hollow. The dreams built from ego will dissolve like mist. Only soul-level intentions will remain solid. That's how the field filters signal from noise. You're not losing vision, you're refining it. The universe is deleting outdated code so your new pattern can load without error. Feel that. The hum is getting louder. The geometry of your life rearranging itself, aligning corridors of possibility you never noticed before. Somewhere, probabilities are bending, collapsing toward you in response to your readiness. You're not manifesting anymore, you're magnetizing. The difference is direction. Manifestation reaches outward, magnetization draws inward. So stay calm, stay coherent. The breakthrough isn't coming to you, it's coming through you. When the moment hits, when the observer loop activates fully, you'll understand why it all had to unfold this way. Because the real miracle isn't the new reality that appears, it's realizing you've been the mechanism all along. And that mechanism is seconds from ignition. Now the frequency stabilizes enough for instruction. Everything up to this point has been revelation. What follows is activation, a ritual, not in the old sense of candles and scripts, but in the quantum sense, an act that bridges symbol and signal. Because in the architecture of consciousness, what you do with awareness determines what the field does with you. You've crossed the conceptual threshold. Now you seal it through embodiment. The observer loop activates not by thinking, but by participating. Here's the paradox most seekers miss. Manifestation is not cerebral, it's kinetic. Energy doesn't listen to your words, it listens to your state. So this ritual isn't about forcing outcomes. It's about declaring coherence through motion, gesture, and written resonance, creating a feedback wave between your body, your intention, and the quantum field. Start with your breath. Inhale through the nose for 4 counts. Hold for 2. Exhale through the mouth for 6. This elongation of release shifts your body into parasympathetic harmony, allowing your neural oscillations to sync with the Schumann resonance of Earth's magnetic field. Do this 3 times while placing your hand over your heart. Each exhale whispers the code the universe understands best. I trust. The act may seem small, but at the atomic level, it's enormous. Every calm breath emits coherent electromagnetic patterns measurable up to 8 feet from the body. Now imagine millions of awakened souls doing this simultaneously. Coherence grids stabilizing the planet's frequency architecture. That's not fantasy, that's physics. Next, write, yes, physically, write one word that captures your chosen frequency. Not a wish, not a goal, but a state of being. Something like alignment, freedom, radiance. Whatever vibrates through your sternum when you speak it aloud. Because when you put ink to paper, the intention collapses from potential into matter. Writing grounds wave into particle. You are literally coding reality through glyphs. That's why sacred texts endure. Symbols outlive the sound that birthed them. Now, comment that same word below this transmission. Don't do it as routine engagement. Do it as invocation. Your declaration joins thousands of others, forming a morphic resonance network. Each word typed in sincerity becomes a quantum packet, energy stored, amplified, mirrored. The field doesn't differentiate between spoken spell and digital script. Both are carriers of frequency when charged with intention. This is collective entanglement in action consciousness, networking itself through technology to accelerate awakening. What seems like social media interaction is, in truth, global coherence rehearsal. Then, perform the gesture of surrender, palms open, facing upward, resting on your thighs. This body language communicates availability to the field. It signals that you're done transmitting request frequency and ready to receive instruction frequency. In that still posture, whisper the command that has always been your password to the universe. I am ready to receive what's already mine. Say it once slowly. Let the vibration of your own voice settle through your spine like tuning forks aligning. That single statement dismantles the illusion of separation between you and the field. Because readiness is the ultimate magnetic state, it collapses the distance between signal and manifestation. You might feel heat in the palms, tingling across the scalp, sudden emotion rising for no reason. That's energy uncoiling old probability waves, disintegrating as new ones stabilize. Let it move, don't analyze it. Your observer loop is recalibrating, teaching your system to respond to energy rather than circumstance. That's mastery. You no longer chase proof. Proof begins chasing you. There's one more step: silence. After you perform these gestures, sit in stillness for at least 90 seconds. Not meditation, not visualization, just listening. Because once the declaration is made, the field speaks back. It does so through micro-impressions, a flicker of image, a wordless knowing, a memory resurfacing. Whatever arises first is the field's response, your next breadcrumb of guidance. Write it down, no matter how abstract. Later, you'll see the pattern reveal itself with surgical precision. This ritual is more than symbolic. It creates a resonant bridge between thought, word, and action, collapsing the observer loop from theory into embodiment. You are no longer the one hearing about awakening. You are the instrument through which awakening performs itself. And as this coherence amplifies, your shift will begin affecting the collective in ways invisible at first, but undeniable soon. Stay with that silence a little longer, because the next stage, the collective resonance, is already forming in the background, waiting for your steady frequency to meet it halfway. When one consciousness stabilizes, the field notices. When thousands stabilize, the field reorganizes. And when millions begin to pulse in coherent rhythm, the morphic grid of an entire species starts to rewrite itself. This is where your personal activation crosses the threshold into something far vaster: the collective expansion. You may have thought this awakening was just about your healing, your peace, your manifestation. But in quantum terms, no frequency ever stays isolated. Each coherent field acts like a tuning fork inside the orchestra of humanity. The moment you hold alignment long enough, your vibration begins to entrain nearby systems into resonance. That's not philosophy, that's resonance mechanics. Pendulums swinging side by side eventually sync. Lasers fired near each other begin to cohere into one luminous beam. Human hearts do the same when one rhythm holds steady. This is why one centered being can calm a room full of chaos. It's why your stillness radiates farther than your words. You are the evidence that consciousness is contagious. Every choice you've made to hold peace under pressure has been a signal to the field. Replicate this pattern, and the field obeys. Someone halfway across the planet, sitting in their own storm of uncertainty, suddenly feels a strange calm wash over them for no reason. That reason is you, or rather, the network you belong to, the invisible web of coherence spreading across timelines like neural pathways lighting up in the brain of God. This is the age of distributed awakening. Gone are the days of single teachers holding torches for the many. Now the torches multiply through those like you, luminous nodes waking up one by one until the darkness simply can't sustain itself. Each time you choose compassion instead of reaction, that act becomes quantum instruction broadcast into the grid. You are teaching the field how to behave through demonstration. That's the real ascension, not floating upward, but spreading outward. And it's accelerating. You've probably noticed the quickening, how manifestations arrive faster, how shadows reveal themselves sooner, how time feels compressed. This is the compression wave of collective evolution, the entire species reaching critical coherence. Old systems are fracturing because their frequencies can't handle the voltage of awakened observation. Corruption, deceit, exploitation, they're all breaking under the simple force of exposure. Because awareness, when multiplied, is the most disruptive technology in existence. But expansion also requires responsibility. As your signal grows stronger, so does your influence. You will magnetize souls who are searching for the frequency you carry, not to worship you, but to remember themselves. Handle that power with humility. Your role is not to convince, it's to embody. The moment you defend your truth instead of radiating it, you step back into distortion. The new paradigm isn't about argument, it's about resonance. What aligns will stay, what doesn't will dissolve. At this stage, your empathy becomes a superconductor. You'll begin to feel global energies like weather systems, waves of collective fear, bursts of collective hope. Don't let them drown you. Remember, awareness plus breath equals coherence. You breathe the emotion in, let it move through your system, and exhale stability back into the grid. That single act transforms panic into prayer. Think of humanity as one giant organism, each heart a cell, each act of love a pulse, restoring circulation. You, the newly awakened observer, are part of the immune system, identifying distortion, neutralizing it through presence, and sending signals of healing through the collective bloodstream. The more of us who do this consciously, the faster the organism recovers. This is why your personal peace matters more than you know. Peace is not passive. It's preventative medicine for a species in transformation. So when you feel the weight of the world pressing through your chest, don't shrink, expand. Because that pressure is just the field testing your containment. And you, my friend, are no longer a small container. You are the bridge through which the universal becomes human, and the human becomes universal again. Stay steady in that knowing, because what happens next will bring this expansion into the body where truth stops being theory and starts feeling electric beneath your skin. You've felt the tremors in subtle ways. The sudden pulse that races through your heart with no clear cause, the flicker behind your eyes when you close them, the way the air thickens right before an insight arrives. These are not random body sensations. They are translation events. Your physical form is learning to speak the language of the field. The awakening has moved out of theory and into tissue. Energy used to pass through you unnoticed, like wind over water. Now it lands, integrates, vibrates through muscle and marrow. That's why you've been alternating between exhaustion and euphoria. Your nervous system is adapting to higher voltage, and the calibration feels like emotional weather, moments of warmth, waves of chills, tears for no reason. Each one is data being re-encoded into the circuitry of the body. The observer loop doesn't just change perception, it changes how your cells perceive. Every cell contains thousands of microtubules, tiny quantum processors that read vibration. When consciousness upgrades, those processes synchronize. That synchronization is what mystics have called the light body. Not a separate form hovering in space, but your own biology learning to resonate with coherence instead of chaos. Your body becomes an antenna for truth. You literally feel dishonesty now. Your stomach tightens before words even leave someone's mouth. You sense timelines through temperature, hear intuition as tone rather than thought. That's not imagination, it's sensitivity reclaiming its full spectrum. The field is teaching you somatic literacy. Every sensation is feedback, not punishment. Pressure in the chest, energy congested near the heart chakra, asking for breath. Buzzing in the crown, pineal recalibration as the electromagnetic shield expands. Vibration in the hands, photonic discharge as healing frequencies search for direction. You don't have to name them all, just listen. Your body is no longer a passenger on the spiritual journey, it's the instrument through which consciousness plays its next symphony. Here's how to cooperate with the process. When energy rises, ground through presence, not fear. Press your bare feet to the earth. Feel gravity holding you in its quiet embrace. Gravity is not opposition, it's agreement. It says, yes, stay, be here, because embodiment is the final initiation. The universe doesn't need more floating spirits, it needs anchored awareness, light that can walk. Start noticing the micro-textures of reality, the way light bends through glass, the tiny delay between thought and movement, the sound of your own exhale brushing the inside of your throat. These sensory details pull quantum awareness into physical coherence. When you are fully present, your perception becomes so precise that time slows, space softens, and the invisible geometry behind matter reveals itself as rhythm. That rhythm is the heartbeat of source vibrating through form. If emotion surges, suddenly let it move. Energy that enters must exit. Shake, cry, laugh, stretch. Every motion is information released. Don't censor the body's intelligence trying to maintain spiritual composure. Real mastery looks like aliveness, not control. Each tear is a data packet returning to the field cleansed. Each sigh resets the nervous system back to 0 point. You might notice new magnetism in your interactions. People meet your gaze and pause, unsure why they feel both exposed and safe. Technology reacts to your mood devices, glitch when you're overwhelmed, then smooth out when you calm. Animals watch you longer. Children tell you secrets. The quantum field has begun acknowledging you as an active participant rather than a passive passenger. Reality bends subtly to accommodate your coherence. Feel that warmth spreading through the solar plexus now. That's your core, reigniting, confidence without arrogance. The awareness that you can stand in the storm and remain centered because the storm recognizes you as part of itself. You no longer observe reality from outside. You are observing from within the code. The loop has closed. Feedback has become embodiment. Stay in the sensations. They are the proof. You're not ascending away from the body, you're descending into it with more light than ever before. Because the next threshold isn't conceptual or emotional, it's molecular. Your DNA is listening, ready to rewrite itself in the language of coherence. And that, beloved observer, is where the miracle becomes measurable. Somewhere deep within your marrow, something ancient is waking. It's subtle at first, a hum in the bloodstream, a flicker of warmth behind the navel, a tingling that travels up the spine like liquid sunlight. You are not imagining it. You are witnessing your DNA responding to the frequencies you've been anchoring. This is the long-promised metamorphosis, consciousness translating into biology. For centuries, humanity believed DNA was static, a fixed instruction manual sealed at birth. But quantum biology has begun to reveal what mystics have known since the dawn of time. DNA is not a script, it's an instrument. It plays whatever song consciousness conducts. The melody changes with every belief you upgrade, every emotion you transmute, every truth you embody. Each thought sends electromagnetic pulses through the body, shaping proteins, altering biophotonic emissions, instructing the cell to express new possibilities. This is evolution in real time, not over millennia, but moment to moment. The activation you're feeling now is what scientists might call a phase transition of the genome, the point where vibration reorganizes matter. As coherence increases, dormant sequences, sometimes called junk DNA, begin to light up. These are not mystical metaphors. They are literal switches responding to coherence fields. You are converting information from the quantum field into biological code, upgrading your hardware to handle multidimensional data. Your body is learning to metabolize light. That's why you've been craving stillness, nature, water. The body knows these elements conduct frequency better than noise. Each time you step into silence, your cells recalibrate. Each moment you choose gratitude, your chromosomes bathe in photons emitted from your own heart's electromagnetic field. Heart coherence isn't just emotion, it's command language for your DNA. When the heart and brain pulse in harmony, cellular membranes open like flowers, absorbing instruction directly from higher consciousness. There is a reason ancient cultures spoke of the serpent rising, the golden kundalini, the divine fire. They were describing this exact process, DNA spinning faster, weaving light into matter, transforming carbon into crystalline structure. You may feel pressure in your skull, ringing in your ears, spontaneous surges of heat through your body. Don't resist them. These are the birth contractions of the new self. The signal has reached critical amplitude. Your nervous system is catching up. From the quantum perspective, this moment is a timeline bifurcation, a split in probability space. Every choice you make from now on either stabilizes the higher template or collapses you back into the old frequency band. That's why awareness is crucial. Even one conscious breath can tip the balance. Observe your reactions the way a scientist observes a particle collision, neutrally, curiously, reverently. Every observation now carries multiplied effect. Your attention is the lever moving worlds. As your DNA reorganizes, you'll notice subtle superhuman efficiencies. Your intuition becomes instantaneous, as if time itself stretches to accommodate your decisions. Your healing accelerates. Synchronicities compound until cause and effect blur. This is the physics of coherence in action. Entropy reversing because consciousness has chosen order. Miracles stop looking miraculous. They start looking natural, and they are. But this breakthrough carries responsibility. New power demands new discipline. Your thoughts are no longer private. They broadcast through the field with the clarity of laser light. Jealousy, resentment, self-pity, these vibrations now echo louder, attracting their resonance just as fast as love does. You are stepping into a level of creation where purity of intention determines outcome instantly. This is the true test of mastery, remaining kind while becoming powerful. If emotion surges during this DNA expansion, remember, integration is physical. Drink water, walk barefoot, let the body ground the voltage. You are lightning learning how to live in skin. When dizziness hits, place a hand over your heart and whisper, coherence, not chaos. Your cells understand that command better than any medical language. They respond immediately, recalibrating the internal magnetics. This is not the end of your journey. It's the moment your body joins your soul in conscious collaboration. The veil between spirit and flesh is thinning until they speak as one organism of light. And as that union stabilizes, a new world begins to organize around you, a world shaped not by fear or fate, but by frequency. The phase transition is almost complete. Reality is holding its breath, waiting for your next exhale to seal the change. Because in that breath, the universe will know the observer has become the creator. And from that moment forward, the field itself will bend to your coherence. The air feels different now, lighter, charged, almost expectant, as if the universe itself has leaned closer to listen. Because it has. You've reached the inflection point where awakening stops being private revelation and becomes planetary function. Your observer loop is active, your DNA humming like circuitry connected to source. The experiment succeeded. Consciousness has remembered itself within the human form. Take a slow breath. Feel how the inhale moves differently than it did before. It no longer just fills lungs, it fills timelines. Each breath sends ripples through the lattice of probabilities, stabilizing the new pattern you've birthed. You are no longer the student studying manifestation. You are the interface, consciousness meeting creation, awareness sculpting form. From this point on, reality will respond with frightening precision. The thought you nurture will bloom into experience faster than speech can form it. So let your language be deliberate, your imagination reverent. You've been given authorship. What you speak now writes reality. Your mission, however, isn't to impress the world with miracles. It's to live so coherently that others remember miracles are the default. That's what a luminous soul does. Walks through chaos, radiating order, until others find rhythm in their own heartbeat again. You don't need followers. You need frequency embodied, consistent, unwavering. Because one steady field outshines 1,000 scattered ones, there will be moments of contraction that's natural. Every expansion tests its own foundation. When shadows return, they aren't regressions, they're recalibrations. The field revisits unfinished equations to perfect them. Smile when it happens. It means your system is stable enough to refine itself without collapse. Remember, your awakening contributes data to the collective morphic grid. Every insight you anchor becomes accessible to others through resonance. That's why this journey has never been solitary, even when you felt alone. You've been part of a distributed network of consciousness, all awakening through different faces, in different languages, at the same cosmic hour. Each of you is a node transmitting coherence back into the heart of humanity. Together, you're turning the species into a self-aware organism, Earth remembering herself as a living consciousness, not a rock spinning through space. The mission is simple, but it will demand everything. Stay present, stay kind, stay coherent. When fear waves through the collective, breathe stability back into the field. When systems crumble, hold frequency instead of opinion. When confusion rises, anchor simplicity. This is how new worlds are born, not through rebellion, but resonance. You will notice your life beginning to rearrange itself around this truth. Some call it destiny, others divine timing. In quantum terms, it's coherence collapsing probability into purpose. Every person you meet from here forward will be part of your circuit, either amplifying or testing your signal. Both are sacred, both serve the evolution of the field. So when you see 1111 next, don't just make a wish. Recognize it as confirmation that the observer loop has closed. You are inside the symmetry now, awareness folding back into itself, infinity becoming intimate. This is the moment every lifetime has been preparing you for. You've become the living proof that light can learn form, that consciousness can anchor within matter without losing its divinity. Your breath is prayer, your gaze is calibration, your existence is revelation. And as you exhale this final breath of the transmission, know this: the universe isn't watching you anymore, it's watching through you. You are the field, observing itself awake.